Good day, everyone. I am Vanessa JT Donato, and today we will be analyzing the poem written by Francisco X. Alarcon to those who have lost everything. But first, let us talk about the author. Alarcon was born in Wilmington, California on February 21, 1954. He was a Chicano poet and an educator. Now, a Chicano poet is someone who is native of or descends from Mexico and who lives in the United States. Alarcon felt he became a writer when he was 15 and helped transcribe his grandmother's own ballad-like songs. Now, his grandmother rather, was a native speaker of Nahuatl. It is a language of the Aztec or the Mexicans. Now, growing up in both the United States and Mexico and experiencing both cultures helped shape the kind of writing he would create. Alarcon received his high school diploma from Cambria Adult School, and when he was in high school, he worked in restaurants and as a migrant farm worker. Now, he also went to Los Angeles College and graduated college from California State University, Long Beach, and Stanford University. During college, he started writing poetry, belonged to many literary circles in the area, and read his poetry out loud at various venues. At Stanford, between 1978 and 1980, he edited the journal Vortiz and met his soulmate, a Mexican poet, Elias Nandino, on his trip to Mexico City. During his time in Mexico, Alarcon was involved in the theaters in Mexico City and did a lot of research at Colegio de Mexico. In 1984, Alarcon was considered a suspect in the murder of the young man Teddy Gomez, who was killed in the Golden Gate Park. The investigation itself was considered discriminatory. Alarcon felt that if he had been white, he never would have been considered a suspect. Others have questioned the police department's actions and felt that they were also homophobic. Legal defense funds were raised, with Margarita Luna Robles organizing and leading the cause. The number of people who came to Alarcon's aid, visiting him in jail, speaking up on his behalf, and praying for him showed how the Chicano community can come together during times of trouble. The actual murderer, William Melvin White, actually confessed and Alarcon was cleared of all charges. Later, Alarcon sued the city of San Francisco because of the trauma the investigation caused. Alarcon was said to age visibly because of the ordeal. Now, his book, Tattoos in 1985, reflects his experience as a murder suspect. Alarcon served as director of the Spanish for Native Speakers program at the University of California at Davis and taught for the Art of the Wild workshop and the California Poets in the school's program. He died in early 2016. Now, let's talk about the contributions of Francisco X. Alarcon to literature. Francisco was a prolific writer of poetry for children and adults. Francisco's poems explore his Chicano identity and celebrate the double joy of being a poet in two languages. Now, Latino and gay identity, mythology, and Nahuatl language, Mesoamerican history, and American culture are all portrayed in Alarcon's writing. Alarcon wrote poetry in English, Spanish, and Nahuatl, often presented to the reader in a bilingual format. His poetry is considered minimalist in style. On the Fulbright Fellowship to Mexico City in 1982, Alarcon discovered the writings of a Mexican priest also named Alarcon, who who had transcribed native songs during the Inquisition in the 1600s. Translations of the priest work, native songs and incantations, and Alarcon's own poems make up his collection, Snake Poems and Aztec Invocation. Now, Alarcon did not plan his subject matter out in advance and did not write with a firm plan in mind. Instead, he allowed his poetry to form in an organic sense, where the poem grows naturally from his own feelings. His lyrical voice is said to move between affirmation and self-erasure. He also thought that poetry is best read aloud. He did not use periods in his writing because he felt his poems were an extension of his life and a period would indicate the end or his death. He said he tends to write his poetry in a secretarial style, yellow blocks of paper by hand. Alarcon has been praised for his depictions of Latino culture in his poetry for children. His children's poetry reflects a genuine warmth and sense of play, and is reviewed by Kirkus Reviews as eloquently crafted. The following are the poetries he wrote for children. First, The Laughing Tomatoes and Other Spring Poems, or Jitomates Risueños y Otros Poemas de Primavera in 1997. The second is From the Belly Button of the Moon and the Other Summer Poems, or Del Ombligo de la Luna y Otros Poemas de Verano in 1998. We have Angels Ride Bikes and Other Fall Poems, or Los Angeles Anidan en Bicicleta y Otros Poemas de Otoño in 1999, and Iguana in the Snow and Other Winter Poems, or Iguanas en la Nieve y Otros Poemas de Invierno in 2001. On the other hand, his poetry for adults is more nuanced and deals with issues involving same-sex relationships, violence, and literary references. His poems have also been described as erotic and socially conscious. Alarcon is very careful to construct a sense of meaning and feeling in his poetry that expresses his experiences relating to homosexual desires. Now, the following are the poetries he wrote for adults. We have Body in Flames, or Cuerpo en Llamas in 1990, The Amor Oscuro, or Of Dark Love in 1991. We also have Snake Poems and Aztec Invocation in 1992. It is the winner of the American Book Award from the Before Columbus Foundation. Now, we also have From the Other Side of Night, Del Otro Lado de la Noche, New and Selected Poems in 2002. We also have Si Uno One, Poemas para el Nuevo Sol, or Poems for the New Sun, 2010. Borderless Butterflies, Earth Haikus and Other Poems, or Mariposas Sin Fronteras, Haikus, Terrenales y Otros Poemas in 2014. And Kando Hondo, or Deep Song in 2015. These are the awards that Francisco X. Alarcon received during his lifetime. He received Chicano Literary Prize in 1984. He also received Penn Oakland Josephine Miles Award in 1993, Cody Lifetime Achievement Award from the Bay Area Book Reviewers Association 2002. He also received Ruben Dario Prize for Poetry in 1981. Also received American Book Award in 1993, the Pura Belpre Honor Award by the American Library Association in 1997. We have Carlos Pellicer Robert Frost Poetry Honor Award by the 3rd Binational Border Poetry Contest, Ciudad Juarez, Chihuahua in 1998, and lastly, the Pura Belpre Honor Award, Danforth and Fulbright Fellowships in 2002. Now, let us proceed to analyzing the poem To Those Who Have Lost Everything. Crossed in despair, many deserts full of hope, carrying their empty fist of sorrow everywhere, mouthing a bitter night of shovels and nails. You're nothing, you're shit, your home's nowhere. Mountains will speak for you, rain will flesh your bones, green again among ashes after a long fire. Started in a fantasy island some time ago, turning natives into aliens. First, let us talk about the history of the poem. Now, Francisco X. Alarcon, Alarcons to Those Who Have Lost Everything is from his collection in 2002, From the Other Side of Night or Del Otro Lado de la Noche. The poignant poem To Those Who Have Lost Everything is visceral meditation for a moment when immigrants are facing inhumane and violent treatment along the U.S. southern border. It is also an important reflection for all of those who remain houseless in this country, a shameful byproduct of the system of land and property ownership. Now, let's have the analysis of the poem. First, let's have the title. The poem's title, To Those Who Have Lost Everything, appears to be a message to the people who have lost everything to appease their pain and make them believe that there is gain in every loss. As for the theme of the poem focuses on racism and the violent and inhumane treatment of the immigrants, yet had found hope at the end of it. As for the structure of the poem is a free verse and consists of single stanzas where the first 4 stanzas have 4 lines and the remaining stanzas have 3 lines. Following the line breaks and the switch from 4 lines to 3 lines, it represents a switch in the drama and the tone of the poem. The stanzas with 3 lines expresses hope and response to the dilemma of those who have lost everything. Stanzas with 4 lines. Now, as for the literary devices, there are a few literary devices that were used in the poem. Let's have first the metaphor. Now, the author uses a metaphor when he uses many deserts instead of directly stating people. He also uses personification, as this is evident when the author uses the mountain in the 5th stanza for the big people or highly regarded people in society that look after the immigrants. He uses also irony in the stanza, carrying their empty fist of sorrow. Now, the use of irony is clear in this stanza because how can an empty fist carry something even if it is non-tangible? Also, symbol is used just like the rain and green in the 6th and 7th stanza, as it symbolizes rebirth and new life. Now, apostrophe is also utilized in the 4th stanza. You're nothing, you're shit, your home's nowhere. Those are the different literary devices that the author used in his poem To Those Who Have Lost Everything. The line-by-line analysis of the poem.